My name is Kashonda Geiger, and I'm a mental health advocate here in Charlotte. I'm starting my own series, The Stay Code, to push the movement of normalizing conversations on mental health and suicide prevention. I'm not sure what will come of this, but we may be able to save a child or adult from deciding to end it all. I have been there, and every person I interview represents a part of my life that enabled me to stay. And I want to share that with you. Their messages, their advocacy, and their goals are all impactful and could be what someone else needs to hear to keep going. This is The Stay Code. Hi everyone, welcome back to The Stay Code. I'm Kashonda Geiger, and I am here with Ashley Ravenell, who is a mental health counselor in higher education. Ashley, tell us a little bit more about what you do and what your goals are.
Okay, right now I am primarily working in higher education. I do work with adult learners as well as first-time freshmen, individuals who are just getting acclimated to the collegiate experience. I am working in a technical college system, so I do get a mix of students. What I do right now focuses more so on academic support, addressing different stressors that they may have in terms to school, living environment, work environment, anything that might cause additional stress while they are pursuing their educational goals.
Okay, very nice. And what are the most common symptoms in the population that you serve?
In education, the most common things that we see are, again, going to be stress. That's a really big one, especially with the early 18 to 28 years old is usually kind of about around the age demographic that I work with. Yeah. So we see a lot of stress. We see a lot of anxiety in terms of whether or not they're going to be able to achieve those goals, whether or not they're going to be able to handle all of the things that they're trying to balance with life, work, relationships, things like that. And we also see a lot of depressive symptoms as well. So it depends on the student, it depends on the day, but those are the main three things that we see: stress, anxiety, and depression.
Okay, and how do you work with the population? Like, what things do you normally do to assist them and help them to cope with some of those symptoms?
It varies from student to student. Because I do work in the school setting, a lot of what I do is going to be very solution focused. So obviously we have the ability to do counseling. We do offer short-term counseling to students on a walk-in basis. Students are able to do walk-in counseling. Students are able to actually say, you know what, I want to speak to this specific counselor about this specific reason. So anything that you can get from a general practitioner, we do have those services on site, but we also do referral services for students who might need something a bit more intensive than what we're able to provide during our hours of operation. In terms of actual practices, yeah. With my position, a lot of it is going to be academic enhancement. So finding out, okay, well, what is the reasoning behind your anxiety? Are you having test anxiety? Is it something that might be medically related, or is it something that might be related to a mood disorder? What is it that's at the root of your problem? So sometimes that might look like getting a student connected with academic coaching. Sometimes it may look like talking to them in a counseling session about time management, trying to balance out what their responsibilities are at home. So it can really differ from person to person. We try to take a very solution-focused, person-centered approach when it comes to figuring out how exactly they're going to cope with those issues.
Okay, absolutely. And regarding the coping strategies, what are some things that I know you as a counselor are giving them activities to do, but what are some things that the parents, grandparents, supporters can do to assist the students with coping? What are some things they can do to build the student up or to help them?
First, students have to identify who their support system is, who it consists of, and realistically look at what they are able to do. A lot of students, they'll come into counseling feeling extremely overwhelmed, feeling like they are alone or feeling like there's no one that they can reach out to. So what I do in my sessions is first try to have them identify who is within their support system. Also identify what the issues are that they're struggling with the most. Then realistically look at, okay, well, what can I do to improve the situation? What needs to be done? What's working well? So try to always bring out those positives, see what the student can do to put themselves in a position where they can not only improve or make that position better, but also figure out what they need from the counseling center, but also what they need from family and friends. So if you say, for instance, I have a student who has multiple children, who's working multiple jobs or things like that, what they need is going to be some more balance. So it may be making sure that they are communicating effectively, not only with their support system, but also with themselves. What is it that I need? If I know that I have to be to work from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, but I have a 10-page paper due, and I have to make sure that my child is going to be fed, is going to have someone to take care of them. Do I have someone in my support system who may be able to look after my child? Can I find a babysitter? Can I find someone who is going to be able to assist me with these different things while I'm also preparing and working toward my goals? So it's like, what can be done? Do I need to talk to someone about kind of alleviating the stress? Can I talk to someone? Sometimes it's just, I don't know who I can run to. I need someone to vent because I'm overwhelmed with everything. Sometimes it's taking the load off, and sometimes it's knowing what you can actually convey to people in your support system. We get a lot of people who will come in and they'll have these concerns, especially when it's something to deal with kind of like their personal self-esteem, mental health, things like that, feelings of achievement. They don't know how to communicate that to their families. So sometimes it's just having someone who is able to be objective, listen and say, you know what, it's okay to feel this way. It's really just trying to normalize those feelings for them and kind of help them to move past it.
Based on the things that you are continuously learning, what are the best ways you have seen that a student can be more emotionally stable? What do you suggest young people do to stay on top of their emotions?
With any student, it's always, with any student, with any client in general, when you come to counseling, when you start engaging kind of in that therapeutic relationship, it's very important to know that it's not up to the therapist, it's not up to the school, it's not up to your instructors, it's not even up to your support system. It's up to you to be able to put yourself in a position to do the work that it takes to move forward. Therapy, counseling, academic support, we are all in a position to help guide students forward, but you have to be able to communicate. This is the things that are happening, these are the things that I need. And so what we do is kind of guide that conversation to try to figure out, hey, how can we engage, how can we help? But we can give students, we can give clients all of the tools in the world, but if they aren't moving forward and implementing them, then that's where we start to see stagnation and change, stagnation and progress. So it's really about getting them to a point where they do feel like they're going to be self-motivated to do their coping mechanisms, to work on that time management, to work on moving forward and being present in their own improvement, and also being okay with who they are. I think a lot of students and a lot of clients come to counseling thinking, oh, I'm this way and I'm this person and I need to change who I am at core. It's okay to be yourself. What we need to do is normalize it to be okay with being yourself, but maximize the way that you're able to function and operate in the world while still being who you are at core.
Now you mentioned about them not implementing or them becoming stagnant in doing the activities that you're suggesting to them. What if they're not coping? What happens next if you find that person is not following through with the activities that you've given them as an assignment, or following through with therapy, or just doing the coping strategies that you're giving them to implement? What happens
when
then?
it comes to that? It's definitely something that's going to be a bit more fluid, a bit more intensive. If we're seeing, hey, even the things that we are talking about and the things that we're working on daily, weekly, they aren't working, that's when I will usually start to investigate a bit more into the student circumstance and see whether or not there is a deeper seated issue that may not be met through short-term interim counseling. We do refer students out based on what their actual experience is. Sometimes there are things that aren't going to be a quick fix in the academic setting. It's not going to be, hey, I came in for 3 or 4 sessions and now I'm able to move forward. Sometimes they need referral to psychiatry. Sometimes they need referral to a medical doctor to see whether or not there is more that can be done. Okay. So we definitely do try to maintain a good network of different clinicians, different services that students are able to engage with outside of the academic environment.
Okay, so what would you say to students who might be watching this who have been questioning whether they want to receive help or whether they should come talk to someone in the counseling department?
Don't be afraid to have the conversation. I think there's still a lot of stigma of, oh, well, I went to university or school psych services and now people are going to think I'm crazy or they're going to think I'm doing this or I'm doing that. I think when we begin to normalize, hey, even if it's not going to be something short term, if you feel like there's a problem, communicate that. If you aren't talking to your family, if you aren't talking to your friends, try to reach out to someone, because sometimes it could be something that's, hey, you know what, we just need to do some quick tools real quick, do some quick practices and we're fine. Or it could be that there is a more deep-seated issue. But if you don't have that conversation and you don't bring it to light, then that's when things can kind of manifest, they can get worse. So if there is even the slightest concern, it's okay to come in and talk to people and say, you know what, this is what I need right now. But self-identification is key. Now with with the school that I'm working at now, we are trying to be more vocal about mental health and about accessing those services, and we're also trying to be more visible so that students know, like, hey, like, it's okay to come and talk to us, even if it's like, it's okay if we're sitting like in the cafe, it's okay for you to come and talk and say, hey, how you doing, Ms. Ravenell? Can I come in and talk? Now, we will not generally engage in conversation of that manner, but you know, it's okay to identify and know who those people are who are supposed to be academic supports. That's literally why we're there. So definitely engage, even if it's not coming to counseling per se. Sometimes you can just talk to one of your instructors, talk to someone that you feel like you're comfortable with in financial aid. We all have kind of a network where we can refer students based on different things, but it's really about positioning yourself and saying, you know what, I'm going to move forward with the intent of figuring out what it is that's going on and what I can do to make it better.
So really we want to normalize and get students more comfortable with the idea of coming in, accessing their academic support services, accessing counseling services, so that we are able to better help them with their progress.
Okay, well, thank you so much for giving us this information today and coming out and speaking with us.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and thank you all for watching the Stay Code. Again, I am Kashonda, and if you are someone who is in need of resources, we will be providing some resources at the end of the show. So please stay tuned. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.